Alright, so we finally got past the winter storm slash blizzard, our first one of calendar year in the Roman Catholic calendar 2018. Thank goodness, it's about time. But now we have to talk about snowfall amounts. We have to talk about the wind chill forecast because honestly, this is probably going to be the last weather update video I do until next week, because next week I'm planning on showing you all the crazy, ridiculous amount of days the tri-state area of New York City has experienced that was under 32 degrees. So I'm only going to focus on New York City because Pine Power did a terrific job with another 13 to 15 minute presentation on his channel regarding Long Island, but I want to do New York City specifically because I might be one of the few YouTubers that talks about this. So let's start off with snowfall amounts. First up in the Bronx, safe to assume they got a foot pretty much in the entire borough. So let's keep that. This was from yesterday before 6 o'clock when the snow pretty much let up in all of the 5 boroughs. And I remembered yesterday when, I got help shoveling that around 5 o'clock it did stop snowing, thankfully. So this is the accurate amount of snowfall. The only reading from Brooklyn we got was from Sheepshead Bay, 12 inches. Bedford Park in the Bronx was the only reading. So now we're going to scroll down to Manhattan. And it looks like Manhattan only Manhattan got less snow. So let's take a look at what Manhattan got. So let's just ignore these readings. This reading right here from Central Park. We'll just look at these readings. So this is what we'll look at here. Stuyvesant Town, 9 inches. Central Park, 9 inches. Gramercy Park, 9 inches. The only thing that I'm honestly upset about is that I wanted to know how much snowfall was at Bryant Park, because that's normally the park I go to in Manhattan, but guess they only really care about Central Park. But I were to give a figure, I'm sure Bryant Park got 9 inches. In that figuring range of 8 to 9 for Bryant Park. But here in Queens, we got definitely a foot here in Northeast Queens. And Howard Beach, I feel really bad for you. You guys got 13 inches of snow. 13 inches. So if you're still digging out today, if you're in Howard Beach, I feel bad for you. And one of the negative things about Howard Beach is that it's very diverse. One part of Howard Beach you'll see suburban houses, but the part of Howard Beach you'd be concerned with is all the apartment buildings. What happens over there, especially how narrow those streets can get, and navigating it during the snowstorm is really a challenge. Bayside, this is probably the Cunningham Park reading. This probably would be correct. I would safely assume that Cunningham and Alley Pond Parks got about 12.5 inches of snow. If I were to put Fresh Meadows in this amount, I would say we at least got a foot here in Fresh Meadows. So that would be completely correct. It even looks like a foot of snow out there. If you take a look, because I looked already today, but Middle Village, 12.5 inches almost, 12.3. Let's highlight that. So this is going to be the area, Middle Village, where you can also put Forest Hills. You could also put Kew Gardens here. That would be Richmond Hill as well. So pretty much if you look at it, the middle, southeast, northeast Queens, this is at least a foot. And I quickly want to mention one of my friends I texted yesterday and going, she told me it was at least a foot of snow. by the Queens-Nassau border where Long Island Jewish is. So Long Island Jewish probably got the same amount of snow because honestly, somebody should have measured the snow amount in Long Island Jewish. Honestly, they should have, but hey, Glen Oaks is a good number, right? Even though there aren't any major New York City parks near Glen Oaks. So, yeah, Jackson Heights, Maspeth, pretty much you name it. Now, here's something that baffled me. Whitestone got 10.7 inches. I'm figuring this is because the same amount of band of snow got into the Bronx. So that would make complete sense. So there you have it over there. Staten Island. Great Kills got 10.5 inches, almost 11. So the borough that really got screwed from this snowstorm, hands down, is Queens. Majority of Queens got at least a foot of snow in this snowstorm. And I said this to John from Pine Power a couple days ago, that Queens was going to get at least a foot. And then yesterday I'm complaining that the Weather Service didn't declare a blizzard warning for Queens. And then the other four boroughs, look how much the Bronx got. Bedford Park, Sheepshead Bay. You're looking at the Bronx, maybe a little bit of a majority of the Bronx, maybe the southern Bronx, majority of Brooklyn, and then Queens got about the most snow. And then Staten Island, look at Richmond County. That's it's very, very concerning if you ask me. That Manhattan got less. How did Manhattan get off the hook? I just don't get it. So it's going to be interesting. And on Tuesday, I am going to try my best to get over to Bryant Park. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but the way I figured I could do it is I could just check quickly before I go over to Book Off and then do it that way. So that's what I'll probably do. I'll just take the F, go over to Bryant Park, and then see if the water fountain melted, because at least the good thing is there's a public restroom at Bryant Park, so that wouldn't slow me down, because honestly, walking through Rockefeller Center is just a headache. So that's what I'll do. I'll check to see if the fountain at Bryant Park melted yet, because I'm curious to see by Tuesday when we hit in the 40s. It'll be interesting. So I'm going to double check my browser for a sec. Let's just make sure that we can zoom in correctly, because I've gotten complaints that, well, I'm watching it on a TV and I can't see the video. I can't see it properly. Well, now you're going to be able to see it properly, because I'm double checking it on the screen right here, and it's very big, everyone, so don't complain to me, please. I'm doing all I can to make this video the best that it can be. So this was the reading before 1 o'clock here in Fresh Meadows. It's currently 15, and it feels like 4 out there. -4, actually. The wind right now is at 24 miles an hour. This is before 1 o'clock. And then we have gusts that are near 34 miles an hour. And I want to quickly mention with this cold weather, I want to use Microsoft Word to date the actual highs from this cold spell, because if I use Weather Underground, it's gonna look awful. It really will look awful. So I need to use Microsoft Word, if possible. I can make it big, don't worry. Oof. Look at Flushing right now. Flushing is 10 degrees. This is probably at JFK. It's possible JFK is experiencing temperatures in the single digits. So this is the forecast right here. And telecast changed that. Thank goodness they did, but problem is Friday night, Saturday night. Hey, sorry for the pause, but I just wanted to make sure I got this done correctly. This is going to be just awful. Just terrible that we are going to be experiencing these horrendous temperatures. And with the wind chill forecast I'm going to show you, this is not good. I tried talking about it yesterday, and this is why I want to try to avoid talking about it until next week. Because it's just beyond comprehension that we've been under this type of weather for almost 3 weeks now. And look at Monday. Chance of snow 40%. So more snow is coming. This is just beyond loss of words. We finally can hit 37 degrees on Tuesday. So that's what I'm hoping. But then our temperatures, again, will drop into the teens. And with the wind gusting at 20 miles an hour, going into 30, we could be experiencing these wind chills again. So let's keep that in mind. I'm not really too worried about Thursday because if it's just raining, I mean, it really wouldn't impact what I would have to do on Thursday personally. So there's that factor. And Friday, really not concerned. So now that we're done looking at that, we can now take a look at the wind chill forecast. And we're going to double check it here in a sec. You know me, I like to double check everything. Alright, so this is pretty accurate if you ask me. I think it can zoom out. I'm trying to zoom out. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That will help. Alright, so let's go to image 2. This is currently the wind chill right now that we are experiencing. This color is a little bit too extreme. It should not be purple. Or at least in the close to dark blue purple, if you ask me. But here's the concern tonight. This is going to be dangerous. We're talking about wind chills that are 10 to 20 below. Even 25 below. It's possible. Look at the Adirondacks. They're going to get ridiculous amount of... It's a ridiculous number. Minus 40 below on the Adirondacks. This is a rare event. This is tonight at 10 o'clock. So 15 to 25 below would be the forecasted real field temperature. So if you're going out tonight, just word of caution. If you're going to a Broadway play, if you're going to maybe catch a movie, maybe you haven't seen Star Wars yet or something, just keep in mind, bundle up, wear extra layers, because it's not going to be safe to be out there. If you're going to be walking, let's say, a long distance to your parked car, in a random example, could be in a parking lot, or it could be where you park during the snowstorm, just bundle up, wear extra layers, even try to cover your mouth, because this is the type of air you do not want to be breathing outside. This is very dangerous. So this is what it would be at 4 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. 25 below would be an accurate number I want to predict right now for the wind chill in New York City. But let's put it in the ballpark of 15 to 25 below. That's where I'm going to put it in the ballpark. Now, I put it in that figure because, I'm a sports fan, and, the Yankees are, I eat, sleep, breathe Yankees. But when I'm making predictions for the weather, I want to make sure I do it correctly. So, the way I see it, maybe at Central Park it'll be 15 below, but when we're talking about an outer borough like Queens, it's possible minus 20 for the wind chill factor is possible. So now I want to see if we can go into Sunday. Sunday is possible to pull up right now. So basically, here we go again. This is Sunday, and I'm glad I can finally show you Sunday. It's going to be the same factor again. And this is very alarming. Very alarming indeed. I urge you all with this weather, please do not over-exaggerate with this weather. Take it seriously. I don't want to hear anybody getting hypothermia or something like that if they don't take my words of advice very carefully. Because the forecast will change next week. Thankfully, we'll be in the upper 30s. Maybe one day we're below 32, but I'm hoping next week I can make a video regarding this cold spell. I'm going to aim for that. Now, quickly, let's pull up the weather alert. If it doesn't load, I could care less because I do want to talk about canceled express subway service that will happen this weekend thanks to this cold spell, and when I think the MTA will try to get it back on Monday, because I'm hoping they will. Maybe an extra day will be necessary, but let's find out, shall we? And again, thankfully with Telecast, it pulls right up. So the only advisory I think the National Weather Service is just telling us is that there's a wind advisory. We're going to see that. Here we go. Wind chill advisory. So even the Weather Service is taking this very seriously. They're not taking anything for granted. All right, so the National Weather Service, well, I'm going to zoom it in as best as I can. There we go. This is the biggest I can make it. And when I pull it up on OBS, it's huge on OBS. Wow. So you guys should be seeing this very clearly. So here we go. Wind chill advisory remains in effect until 10 a.m. tomorrow. What does this mean? Very cold wind chills expected. The cold wind chills will cause frostbite in as little as 30 minutes. Well, I think that's wrong. I think 15 minutes is possible with this wind chill. And then, like I said, expect wind chills to range from 15 to 20 below zero at times. So, this is something that you need to take very seriously the next 2 days, at least till Sunday. This affects the entire tri-state area. So the end of the video, it's been almost 20 minutes. I want to edit it already because this is a lot of good stuff I covered today, and I want to get it out. So to end the video today, I just want to quickly mention that if you're seeing any canceled express train service, it's for your own good. And I'm going to tell you why. And I know about this. I've basically known about this for years. Basically, the MTA has had this subway plan for years where service on the 7 line may be reduced with the last and first stop to and from Flushing being Times Square, 42nd Street. And then they use shuttle trains to provide service to Hudson Yards. So you might not be getting on a 7 train where it goes directly to 34th Hudson. You might end up trying to get a shuttle train at Times Square, 42nd Street this weekend. And this is the important thing I want you all to know, because I talked about it on Twitter pretty much. So I'm going to use my mouse because it'll just cover it awfully. So basically, express service on the E and F in Queens will be impacted because we have these dangerous temperatures of 10 below or less. And what happens is, even though it's underground, I want you all to know that the tracks are very vulnerable. Yes, the tunnels can get cold. I understand that. But the tracks cannot handle that wear and tear of express trains. They have to run the E and the F local. So, to give you an example, I'm going to try to pull up an MTA map. I think I should be able to, right? I mean, it's possible. I figured to give you an idea, I only want to focus on Queens, because the D, the 2, and the 3, come on. This is a Queens channel. I always look out for my strap hangers in Queens. So, I'm going to make a prediction on how I think the local service will end up. Because thankfully, the MTA map will help with us. Subway map. Here we go. And again, you just go on Google. I figured this is like a little tutorial. I mean, this is sort of awesome. I'm giving you a little bit of a tutorial on how to access the subway map. Alright, so it shouldn't take that long to load. Because this is what I love about PDF files. They just pull up boom, boom, boom quickly. And this is the map I use to help people during the 53rd Street project, which I saw a Channel 2 report over the holiday break, and I'm still surprised people didn't heed my warning and they didn't know the MTA was planning to do the 53rd Street tunnel work. And this is why I talk about the 53rd Street tunnel work. So basically, here's my prediction on how I think it's going to end up. So here's what the MTA can do with the E. What they can do is they can run the... Let me try zooming it in. If I can't zoom it in, I apologize, but it's for everyone's best that I explain it this way. Wow, it's actually zooming in. Good. Putting it in full so we can see it. So here we go. The E can run on the M now because the 53rd Street tunnel work is done. Finito. It's been done for a week. The MTA needs to run it local. They can do that. No problem. But, and I stress very, very urge of importance. What the MTA can do in this situation is they can keep the F running on this line here, along Broadway, along here. And then what they can do is, because this is very smart of the MTA to do this, they can convert the F train back onto the normal route of going into Queensbridge. So, for an example, you're used to going express on the F. Well, likely not going to happen this weekend. You might get one of those local F trains that runs along the M and R tracks. But you shouldn't be too worried if you need to go to, example, Queensbridge or Roosevelt Island. The MTA will handle it. Don't worry. I just don't want you to get panicked on why the train's not running express. It's for everyone's safety. And more importantly, you don't want to hear about a train derailment or something like that in this cold weather. The MTA has had this plan for years. I just don't want anybody getting alarmed that the E and the F in Queens might be running local. And normally on the weekend, there's never 7 train that runs express along Roosevelt. So that's it. I just wanted to give you an update on this cold weather spell we're still experiencing. It looking like next week, as the annoying Microsoft update window comes up. The point I'm trying to make here is that next week it looks like we should get back into the 40s. A little bit of rain will help. The only concern will be flash flooding, but the point I'm trying to make is that we need temperatures to be in the 40s again. It's looking like it, and I'm hoping with the 40-degree weather, it'll slowly over time melt the snow. But the only negative I can think of is that the southern pine beetle might come back to Suffolk County and destroy the pine roots in Suffolk, but that's all to be determined by nature. But so far the good news is, 2 weeks of this and the pine beetle pretty much is dying off. So that's good. And hopefully the bugs we get around Queens that's been killing the tree roots over the years are dying off too. So thankfully all the wonderful burlesque of Cunningham and Alley Pond Parks will be fine. So that's pretty much the video. Thank you all for watching. And just remember, everyone, don't take this cold weather as a laughing stock. Bundle up. Make sure you don't spend too much time outside. That's very important to remember. Just stay safe, everyone.